My Lords, the Government is committed to getting a good deal for the UK, and we've agreed a fair financial settlement with the EU. If the UK left a deal, the Government has always been clear that the UK has obligations to the EU, and the EU has obligations to the UK that will survive the UK's withdrawal, and that these would need to be resolved.
Well, my Lords, I'm sure that everyone in the House would agree that we, be it as individuals or as a nation, should pay our debts. But I suspect most of us would also agree that we should not pay bills when we have not received anything in exchange. But I hear that the European Commission is demanding that whatever happens, should we leave without a deal, they will expect £39 billion from us, which has probably more to do with a hole in their budget left when we leave rather than anything else. So could my noble friend reassure me that we will very definitely renegotiate any financial deal should we regrettably leave without a deal on the 29th of March?
The position of the financial settlement is that that went alongside the withdrawal agreement. It is, if you like, looking at our obligations to the EU as a result of our membership. It is not connected to the future economic partnership, which we hope to negotiate with our European friends and partners. However, if we were not to honour that financial settlement, which is part of the withdrawal agreement, then that certainly probably would have a significant bearing on our ability to get a good deal in the future for the UK.
I thoroughly agree with everything that the Minister just said, that if we don't honour an obligation that we have signed up to in the past, that we would have difficulty negotiating a sensible deal with the EU. But does he also recognise that around the globe, the way we handle this is being watched? And if we are seen as people who don't meet obligations, trying to find some technical angle or some way to weasel out of a commitment that we have made, we will have no chance of any kind of future trade agreements of any value.
Right, and we need to remember, because of the way in which our net contribution is calculated, that is made up not just of what the UK sends to the European Commission, but also what the European Commission sends to the UK. And so therefore there are two parties to this, both making contributions, both need to honour their obligations, and we believe that the financial settlement does just that.
My Lords, would the Minister not confirm that the £39 billion figure was entered into in good faith by the Prime Minister and the Government in December 2017 and simply represents what the two sides, the Commission and the British Government, believe is owing in respect of various commitments over many years? If that is so, then the suggestion that if we leave without a deal we don't owe this money has no basis whatsoever.
In that sense, that is correct. The range of the figure, which is in the financial settlement, is between 35 billion and 39 billion. The OBR have put it at the top end of that range, but it is something which, of course, when we went into that negotiation, one of the things which the European Commission wanted to do was to discount the rebate, which is a significant element of our contributions, which benefits the UK. That was included in the final calculation, so I believe it does represent a good settlement alongside the withdrawal agreement, which should command support on all sides of the House.
My Lords, isn't it right for us to assume that the majority of British people who voted to leave the European community did so because they had a different perspective on the future of the United Kingdom, particularly in terms of control of decisions, and that the idea that the country is full of animosity towards the European Union, when after all the initiative was taken by us to leave, is in fact a false one, and that therefore the people would expect us to meet our obligations that we entered into as far as the European Union is concerned.
Yes, well, I'm very happy to agree with that sentiment. I think that we want to have a deep, ongoing relationship with our European friends, and part of that is when you sign up to something, you honour it, and that was what was signed up to at the Council meeting back in November, and I believe that is what should be supported.
39 billion made up there of our annual contributions for the 2 years of the implementation stage. And so I can't see how we would owe how we would owe that if we'd actually left with no deal? And did not a committee of your Lordship's House say that we didn't actually owe the EU anything with no deal?
Yeah. And that position, which was taken by the House Rules Committee, was looked at by the government, and they took a different view. They believed that there were obligations. What they observed was that there wasn't a legal mechanism existing whereby they could be enforced, but they did say that the European Union would be entitled to pursue litigation through courts to recover payments. As I say, the best way to resolve all of these issues is through a deal, and through the deal that's on the table.
Noble Lord the Minister has been extraordinarily helpful to the House today, because and maybe he could just confirm, for someone like me who finds it very difficult sometimes to follow these arguments, but he is saying to those people who say that there is some way that we can just wave aside this 39 billion commitment, that is bogus and misleading the British public. And can he also confirm that the British government believes that when it has international obligations, it should meet them?
Well, I agree all of that, and I think that what we've got to be clear on is certainly, we certainly agree with my noble friend Lord Hamilton when he makes the good point that, of course, part of that 35 to 39 billion is made up of the implementation period, which is the 2 years ongoing contributions to the European Union. Also, he is therefore correct to point out that if we left without a deal, then there wouldn't be an implementation period, and therefore that money would not be paid. But there need to be some mechanism, therefore, to reach either a negotiated settlement, or it would be as a result of a legal challenge in some court.
So, Noble Lord the Minister, how will we deal with things like the billion we've invested in Galileo, which now we're not going to be able to use? How will that be resolved? Is it part of the 39 billion or separately?
These were all matters which went into the financial settlement. These were all figures which went in there. That's where we arrived at the numbers. In terms of our future relationship, that is a matter for the future economic framework, which once we get the withdrawal agreement through your Lordship's House and onto the statute book, then we can look forward to negotiating with our European friends.